Hey, everybody.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Hey, everybody. It is the first night of the 2013 NFL Draft. We are live from the SB Nation studios in beautiful it is late for me. I'm an old person. Midtown Manhattan in New York City. I am joined by Matt Ufford, of course,
Howdy.
of SB Nation, Jerry Mallory of SB Nation, and
Pride of Detroit.
it's going to be dramatic with the Pride of Detroit, and Nick Stevens, general funny, smart, attractive, good person, friend of the show, friend of the company,
And a Pats fan.
Don't hate me for that.
Yeah, we should wear our fandom on our sleeves. Seahawks fan here.
This is true. He just got our social security numbers by being a Pats fan and associated with
Yes.
Bill Belichick without us even knowing.
Because there's cameras in the studio with a Pats fan.
Hey, I get it.
Good morning.
Oh, because of the thievery. All right. First round is in the books. Not a huge, not a huge overarching shocker anywhere in this draft, I don't think. But
Sharif Floyd.
fell a little bit.
Is
But
that our takeaway from tonight? Like, people are going to be water coolering tomorrow morning like, man, you see what happened to Sharif Floyd? No, because I don't know who that is. I'm going to go copy some stuff and pretend to work at my desk.
The EJ Manuel, Geno Smith drama.
EJ Manuel being the first and only quarterback off the board, which a lot of college fans I think would be a little bit suspect of. At
Yep.
Florida State, he was decent, but not an overwhelming presence. If you compare him to the first quarterback off of boards in previous seasons, he doesn't really
He'll
compare.
fit right in Buffalo.
Yes,
in
that is
perfect
exactly
fit.
right.
Yes.
He'll never be very good.
Because for a lot of obvious reasons. Also, with EJ Manuel going to Buffalo, the social media story of the night would be Ryan Nassib defriending Doug Marrone on Facebook.
Right.
Yes, former Syracuse
he also
quarterback.
unfollowed him on Twitter.
Oh, okay. So
got shunned.
those are all the big stories.
Yeah.
No running back taken. No true running back taken in the first round.
Not a surprise, though.
I think it's great. I think it's fantastic. I don't know. After what you've been through as a Lions fan with first-round running backs, I think that's fairly fair.
And it's kind of the wave of the future. Running
Yes.
backs have a short shelf life now.
They've generally had a short shelf. That's really tough to say. Short shelf life. But yeah, it does make sense as more and more of the best athletes, high school, college, and the pros are now on the defensive side of the ball. Maybe don't invest in somebody who just has a giant crosshair on his face at all times.
Alfred Morris, second leading rusher in the NFL last year, second in touchdowns, 6th-round draft pick.
A Florida Atlantic
There you
Owl.
go.
Yeah.
So that was an interesting storyline. I do like that about the NFL. The 49ers trade up to get Eric Reed. That's how it's pronounced. It's trading up, yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, trading up. NFL's very new to me. And Minnesota getting all sorts of picks, trading all sorts of picks. Bill Belichick. That's a story, I
The
believe.
hoodie.
It's a story every year, but it's the same story. I'm amazed by the fact that all Pats fans, and then just in general draft fans and football fans, head into the draft thinking like, man, I can't wait to see what Belichick does this year. Who are the Pats going to take? Nobody.
No.
Well, I should get a Patriots jersey that actually says trading back or trading down.
Future
on the back.
consideration.
Right.
Future consideration.
With an arrow just pointing down.
When Joe Andruzzi held up the 617, the Boston Strong jersey, that's
Right.
actually the number of draft picks that Belichick got from Minnesota for Will
true.
Cordero Patterson or whatever the name of the Erica Badu-haired wide receiver they got from
Tennessee.
for Tennessee was.
Yeah. All right, that's all fair. So now I want to go around and discuss what your favorite parts, because normally we discuss what your favorite thing you've eaten or seen or experienced of the week is, but since we are focusing on the Drafty Hour, I'll start with you, Jerry. Lions fan especially. So first, give me your opinion of the Lions pick of Ziggy Ansah at 5, and then I want the best part, the favorite moment for you of the first round of the draft, and the most disappointing part.
I don't like Ziggy Ansah at the 5. I mean, the only problem was, though, the 3 tackles were gone. So,
Yeah.
they were kind of in that spot. What do you do?
And that was your number one need.
Yep, tackle, most definitely.
Right.
I'm not crazy about the pick. He's at the very youngest 24. His papers and that whole little African age thing, he looks about 40.
Yep.
I think he may be in the family of Greg Oden and LeBron James.
Yep.
He's like
20-year-old
he's
guys
like
that
a
look
Cuban
50.
pitching prospect.
Yeah, a little El Duque situation.
That's he's the Danny Almonte of
Yes.
recent
Exactly,
draft picks for the
yeah.
Detroit Lions.
Yeah.
But think about it. He could have if he looks like Greg Oden, then he could have like Ent tree man strength. Like he plays man strong.
Yeah, that could be very useful. So no, I don't really like the pick.
So was that your most disappointing moment, or was there something else?
No, that was definitely the most disappointing moment. Actually, when Lane Johnson was picked with the Eagles.
Okay.
Because then I knew it was happening.
Right. Okay. And happiest moment you most enjoyed during the first round?
I'm an evil guy. I like seeing the Geno Smith.
You like
drop.
the faller.
Yeah, the squirm.
Yep.
He was looking down the whole time, and I like seeing that.
He was already unhappy by like pick 14.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, yeah.
there
Well,
was-
he knew. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was obvious at that point. My question is then, building on that, if you're Geno Smith, why go to New York? Aside from like the ego thinking I'm the best and I'll definitely be taken in the
Why
first
did
round.
EJ Manuel even get invited?
I see. That's the question.
I still want to know who is EJ Manuel. I've never seen this man throw a football.
He was okay for Florida. He was good. He came in as like a 5-star kid. He's from Virginia. The problem with EJ Manuel isn't necessarily EJ Manuel. Jimbo Fisher, his coach at Florida State, very vanilla. Like, did not really take advantage of the gifts that EJ Manuel has. He's a dual threat. He's got a really nice arm, great size, but you really don't have a concept for how sophisticated a quarterback he can be at the NFL level because he wasn't asked to do all that much.
Right.
Still very raw. And he's not today, as it stands right now, he's not an NFL quarterback.
So his agent probably
first-round
called people
quarterback.
up. He's definitely not a first-round
Right.
talent. That
No,
seems
not
like
at
a
all.
reach. No, in any way, shape, or form.
It was a potential pick.
So you're basically saying that his agent called people and was like, "Are you looking for a quarterback? That Christian Ponder guy, he helped the Vikings win several more games. Okay, well my guy, he's not Christian Ponder. He doesn't have licorice. He doesn't have licorice for a right
He is
arm.
literally not
He's
Christian Ponder.
literally not Christian Ponder.
Right.
I just can't believe that he would go to Buffalo. He's the first round. He's the only quarterback basically selected, the first round quarterback,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
Taken out of the blue. Nobody has heard of this guy.
Right.
And now instead of Nassib, who they could have easily had later, who knows Doug Marone's entire system, they go with EJ Manuel, who there is no chance in the world is going to start next year, which means, hello, Buffalo, camera 1, camera 2, camera 3. You guys all have a year of Tavares Jackson to look forward to.
Wait.
There is
They
kind
can
of a call.
still draft massive.
They can still draft massive.
Quarterback
Oh, wow.
competition.
Multi-quarterback formation.
there you go.
Redskins did it first.
Yes, they did. They did do it first. My thing with that pick is if you're Buffalo, you need a quarterback of the future, but in any other year, in any other draft, EJ Manuel's not a first-round grade. He's not a first-round
close.
talent.
No.
So it just reeks of desperation, and why not just build up? Why not get the best available player and make your team the best possible team it can be instead of counting on somebody counting on the value of EJ Manuel that isn't there? It's just strange to me.
I'll take because they're Buffalo for 400 then.
That is the correct answer. That's what I have on my card.
Tell me, Dan.
Yeah.
Let's keep this moving.
Sure.
What's your least favorite, most favorite parts of the night?
My least favorite pick are those potential picks. There's so much money on the line. So it is EJ Manuel. It is Ziggy Ansah. It is, even though I went to Oregon, there is a bit of the Kyle Long thing because he started 4 games. I really like to see proven talent get rewarded with the money, with the attention, and he does have the potential, but he's sort of a 2015
I think that
type
family
guard.
name helped him out.
The family name
Quite a
helped him out.
bit.
And he's extraordinarily good. I remember last year in fall camp for Oregon, immediately he was like, oh, this is a first-round talent kind of guy. But he didn't actually start until there were injuries later on in the season, moved over from tackle to guard. So he really doesn't even have the experience playing one specific position on the line that you'd like to see. But that was my least favorite. My favorite part of the night was Sylvester Williams, a lesser-known defensive tackle from North Carolina. He gets drafted in the first round. Really good story. Put himself through school. JC getting to North. I believe it was JC. I may be mistaken. I really should research these things. But
It's the internet.
He built radiators at a truck plant to put himself through school and eventually proved himself on the field in Chapel Hill. And just by North Carolina standards, probably got improper tutoring.
That might be some like good Mr. Miyagi training. Building radiators probably
Listen.
translates to the NFL some type of way.
Listen,
Oh, nice. Cap on.
There
Cap
you go.
off.
Exactly. That's
Cap
the thing.
on.
Yeah.
Cap off.
I'm going to tell you something right now. This body has not built radiators, and this body's not getting drafted. So the empirical evidence
Here's
is
a
there.
question, though. Has any defensive end, tackle, or linebacker from North Carolina in recent years worked out the way that
Panned
we
out,
thought they
right.
would have? Like, who's the dude who plays for St. Louis, got drafted 2 years ago? Everybody was high on him, went like somewhere between
know-
12 and 15 to the Rams. Robert Quinn.
Robert Quinn. Marvin Austin went to the Giants.
nice bail,
Hasn't
nice
done
bail.
all that much.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I owe
thank
you
you very
one.
much. There have been a couple. Last year, in the first round to the, he was rated higher than he should have been. I want to say the Jets took him, but I'm wrong on this.
Let's just
yeah.
spend the rest of the
Yeah.
hour trying
Yes,
to remember,
that
guys.
guy.
Who was this
that
guy?
Well, see, that's the thing with North Carolina. That's their exact.
Or we can
Greg
do-
Little, like yeah.
Or instead of having to wonder, we can just run one of those fancy Oscar in memoriam to all the North Carolina defensive tackles at the end.
That's true. That is absolutely true. So yeah, that's my favorite part. Seeing those types of those stories rewarded. Sharif Floyd, a very good story, sort of raised himself after he was 15. I couldn't do that.
Bob-
I still am struggling.
Bob Costas approves of your choice, sir.
I know the heart tuggers. Desmond Trufant, who you spent time with.
I did, yeah.
Does that register for you as your favorite? Where does that? Same question to you.
I'm happy for him. He's a great fit in Atlanta. My favorite part of the night is probably actually the NFL Network's opening credits. I know this seems weird, but it was like all the players were shot in the exact same manner that Saturday Night Live's opening credits
That was
are.
hilarious.
And so it's like, with E.J. Manuel.
Right. John Hamm is going to host.
Musical guest.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, live from SB Nation.
So I thought that was
The
fun.
entertainment
just
factor
some
there.
goofs we got out
Right.
of that. And,
Quentin Copels, ladies and gentlemen.
There it is.
2012.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
And then the worst I think would be, this is the first draft I've really experienced that I can remember the Seahawks not having a first round draft pick.
Right.
And it's so weird unless you're a Raiders fan for your team not to have a pick in the first round because you just sit there with like, I mean, it's nice that we've got Percy Harvin now.
Not bad.
Yeah, that's good first round value for sure. But kind of a downer, kind of a downer for your night. We're like, well, we don't have anybody.
Yeah, that's true.
So as a Seahawks fan, you're basically the guy that goes to the bachelor party and your wife made you promise that you would not partake when the stripper lays down in the middle of the room on the towel in the hotel room.
Basically.
And you're just like, I'm married, sorry guys.
Sorry,
really happy. It weighs 5,000 pounds.
I was going to make some
It's
sort
so
of...
hot. It burns.
I was going to make a Christmas present joke, but yours was much better.
come
yours
on,
was
please.
much funnier. All right. So Nick, what were your highs, your lows? What stood out to you?
Hi, I'm Nick, new to the Drafty Halfy. In the Draftermath, I would say this is my particularly
Draftermath?
Draftermath.
Nice.
I call the aftermath of the draft the
Winning the
Draftermath,
pun
where we
war.
all sit. Thank you very little.
Yeah.
It was a bit puntastic, I understand. This is my favorite actual part of it all, but in terms of the draft, the 3 hours and 49 minutes of bone-grinding, excruciating, Berman-esque, Gruden-led nonsense. The best part for me, as a Pats fan, obviously tinted and jaded that I may be, would be Belichick basically not having to go to Minnesota so as to fleece Rob. He walked into the house of the Minnesota Vikings. He drank their scotch, had sex with the Vikings' wife, took home their dog, brought home all the jewels, and yet did not have to go there. Why? Because he is a Sith Lord who controls the force of football. He is evil, he is wicked, and he has convinced me that evil is a very, very good thing. 4 picks for 1? Come on. That's
Being
right.
an NFL GM can't be that hard. All you have to do is don't answer the phone if it's the Patriots calling.
Yep.
Right. You have a dedicated
Put them on the
ringtone
will-
when Belichick
do not
calls.
call. List.
You will black out, and 10 minutes later you will be naked and your butt will be sore.
Yeah, and the Vikings thanked him. Thanks, Bill. Feels great. We took a receiver who played like 8 years.
Hey, thanks there, Belichick. We sure appreciate that. That was real nice of you there. So we got the other guy. Horrible Green Bay impersonation by way of
Sure.
Minnesota.
Yeah,
you guys are
yeah,
welcome.
yeah, it was-
Hello, SB Nation.
So let me follow this up then. Do you feel similar to Matt in that you did not get that first round pick after all this buildup?
No, because I knew they were going to trade it away in the first
All
place.
right.
Water is wet. Not to quote the last Boy Scout too often, but water is wet. The sky is blue.
You cannot do that.
There's no such thing,
No,
right?
no.
You
There's a
cannot.
sign on the door that says no
cannot-
last Boy Scout 2.
What's that say? No fighting. You can never quote Shane Black too often.
Right.
Water is wet, the sky is blue, and Belichick loves value and does not want to pick in the first round. That's all there is to it. Last year he traded up and got his boys Chandler Jones and Dante with the apostrophe
Yeah. There you
go, get it right.
Hightower,
Yep.
who I think is going to have a beast of a second
He's
year.
great.
Fantastic player. This year doesn't need it. We'll go get some value wide receiver and cornerback picks, which he will cut in 2014, and we're all going to enjoy that.
Yeah.
So this was
corner
very true to
receiver,
form.
corner receiver are your two desires
Yes.
from the Patriots.
Corner, receiver, defensive lineman who will develop a back problem, and offensive lineman who he wishes would actually either be the hero story of Marcus Cannon or have half of the nuts or returnability of Dan Conley, but will probably never see the light of the field. That's your day 2 storyline for the Patriots. The worst part of it was also slightly a favorite in the Schadenfreude department, that, of course, being the Ballad of Geno Smith. I mean, it's just like he's our new Brady Quinn, just sitting there texting, so sad, looking away from the camera, not wanting. I mean, granted, Brady Quinn's texting device was so much larger 4 years ago, but he's just sitting there like, I so sad, I so lonely. Why did I come here? This suit cost $6,000. Why did I listen to Lamar Odom and wear maroon? This is terrible. All these decisions, and then he goes home like, screw you guys, I'm taking my ball and
he's
going
not
home.
coming back.
He's not coming back.
Yeah, the ESPN
Which is
said
the
he's not
smart
coming
move.
back.
His feelings are hurt. I mean,
No, you know what? You do show up tomorrow. And you know what you do? You show up wearing some douchey stuff that you buy on St. Mark's. You show up wearing like, like
sparkly aviators,
like dress like Kanye tomorrow. Wear a leather skirt like he did at the 12-12-12 concert. What do you care?
Walk
what do you
to
have
the
to lose?
platform and draft yourself. That's what he has to do.
Always embrace.
Absolutely.
I'm the first pick in the second round.
Shows up drunk,
I'm going to
pushes
this
the
team,
guy out.
and that's it.
I'll tell you.
Yeah,
who's
pull a
getting drafted
Kanye.
next.
Every embarrassing thing. He should stand up at the platform and just be like, I just want to kiss you. Whatever. Do something memorable.
I have a few things to say.
On that note, drunk Joe Namath did make an appearance tonight.
That's true.
That was awesome.
Love him so much.
Yeah.
Everyone's favorite drunkle.
Oh, God.
He gives such good drunkle.
I was at the Super Bowl in Miami 6 years ago, I think. And he's just sipping from a coffee cup in the middle of the day. It's not filled with coffee.
No.
He's football's Wade Boggs. That's what he's become.
He is. Has anyone ever done the Wade Boggs challenge, by the way?
No,
Have you
like
guys?
the 48 beers on a plane.
I want to try and fly transcontinentally. I want to stop because it's 30 years ago and my plane can't carry enough gas to go from Boston to LA. And I want to try and drink 60 Miller Lights. That's bucket list.
The number keeps going up every single time I hear the legend of that story. That's so great.
He drank 10,000 beers.
Yeah, 10 in one flight.
Wade Boggs.
Ain't no man can eat no 50 eggs.
All right,
My boy Luke.
Matt. Do you have? I know you have some talking points you want to hit.
What do we got? I'll tell you what. This is my first time actually watching NFL Network.
Right.
And we watched it for about 10 picks, and we're
For the draft, you've seen the network
Oh yeah,
before,
of course,
yes.
of course. But this is my first time watching the NFL Net on the draft night.
Right.
And it was really informative and good and super boring.
It's not great TV.
And we went over to ESPN, and the first thing I heard was Chris Berman saying, "They need blocking," and I was just like, "This is awful and so much more entertaining."
And it has to be. It's a TV show.
Yeah,
it has to be entertaining. You can't just be. The NFL Network was so dry.
Well, let's also not forget that in the acronym of ESPN, the first letter, the E, stands for Entertainment Sports Programming Network. So that's their primary response. Well, robbing you blind and driving your cable bill price up significantly every month.
Pop, yeah.
Exactly, is their primary goal. But mission directive number 2 is to entertain you, which is, it's a show.
Yep.
They absolutely put on a show. Berman with his antics and histrionics. Mel Kiper, being released from downstairs where Chunk is eating, with Sloth eating baby Ruths. He comes up, you get it. Like, the TV needs to have John Gruden will say this guy in 5, 4, 3. So we can all just do a Gruden drinking game. I bet we would all be housed if we did a shot every time he says this guy.
I would be dead. Yeah, basically, NFL Network is Jim Lehrer. Just telling you how it is. And ESPN is Glenn Beck. Crazy, entertaining. I don't know what, if anything, means. It's mostly wrong. But there are strings and chalkboards and yelling and weird, unnecessary glasses.
It doesn't matter if we're right because this is a load of fun.
Yes, that is true.
Which makes this Alex Jones.
I love Alex Jones.
Mel Kiper's hairline, is it getting more and more like the bat signal? That's starting to worry me a little bit.
There is some battiness to it. And I did notice it's getting closer and closer to old lady hair.
Yeah.
Like the little the confined old lady poof. I get that too. Not that I'm above it, but I'm just saying Mel Kiper's once famous coif is turning a little bit golden girly-in.
It is.
Which is the 7th time I've used the phrase golden girly-in on this show. You wouldn't think so.
No, I wouldn't.
But there it was.
It fits.
Our friendship is golden girly.
That is true.
So that's why
you-
it keeps coming up.
Well, who would we be? The 4 of us. Golden Girl rolls.
I'm a Blanche.
Are you a Blanche?
I call Blanche.
Can I be Estelle? Can I be?
You would definitely be
Estelle Getty.
It's just Estelle.
Getty,
yeah,
yeah.
Estelle. So Blanche is which one?
She's the slut.
She's the
that's
slutty
Rue
one.
McClanahan, without a doubt. Totally.
And so I would feel like the B. Arthur role. I think that's Jerry.
Could I make like a guest appearance? It's like an old black woman and be like Maya Angelou on the show? Is that possible? Or?
No, you know who you are? You're Jack Hay paying us a visit. You're
Jack
the
Harris.
Apartment 27, 227, next to the Golden Girls.
Mary.
Oh my goodness, I gotta take care of y'all.
That went to the exact place I was hoping. it
Wow,
would.
suddenly this became Tyler Perry's drafting.
It's a dream. It's always a dream. Let's go quickly. I'm gonna stop me if anything intrigues you. I'm gonna go through the draft picks. If anything surprised you, what do you have?
I've
I don't
got
want to interrupt
one
you.
more thing that we
Hit me.
need to hit, and that is it happened late in the first round. Travis Frederick. We all said, who?
Oh.
And then we said, my God, what a majestic beard.
180 as soon as you see the beard.
How did he not go?
Horrible pick.
How did he not go to the Vikings?
pick, yeah.
We're like, oh, he has to be an amazing football player because
Right.
look at
the
that
beard.
manly beard.
You know what I'm going to say next year when I see Travis Frederick like in the snow at some game and his beard is all white and he looks haggard? I'm going to say, Travis Frederick's still in the league? How old is he? And he's going to be 23. I'm like, oh right, yeah, that's him.
Looking at Travis Frederick, three things become immediately apparent. A, he has definitely grabbed a salmon from a river and eaten it raw.
Yeah.
B, has no interest in wearing deodorant. And C, could probably navigate the Oregon Trail.
Oh yeah, no, I thought you were
That's
going
all man.
navigating with some sort of anatomy. I don't know where you were going with that,
Neither did I.
but I liked it.
That's part of the fun of being me.
There you go.
nice.
Does he have an Old Spice contract already?
Yeah.
He should.
He should, right?
Probably.
Abs-
It's been about 30 minutes, right?
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, he's got a contract.
Get paid, Travis
Big money.
Frederick. I don't know what. It's just lovely. I like it. All right, I'm going to go through the picks quickly. Eric Fisher, a bit of a surprise. Does it register anything with you? It was going to be a tackle either way.
The only thing it really inspires in me is like Carrie Fisher jokes.
Really? How many Carrie Fisher jokes do you have?
We don't have all night.
All right, there it is. Luke Jokel, a lot of people felt he was the number one prospect on the board. He goes to Jacksonville. An actual sensible pick from the Jaguars.
Yeah.
How did you not take a moment and let us all like bow our heads and feel terrible for Luke Jokel because you said unironically
Right.
he goes to Jacksonville. Like that's a pour some out for your homie moment.
That's
Have you
it.
been to Jacksonville?
I have been.
Oh, that's a terrible place.
It is really awful. It's murdery. It's like East Coast Stockton.
I'm going to warn you. I said some bad things about Jacksonville earlier. Like, I made some powerful enemies.
Did you?
Yeah.
Who are powerful people in Jacksonville?
Twitter mafia. Duval County will stand up, sir.
Duval. Okay, then Jacksonville.
I'll say this.
Jacksonville is a fantastic place and the
Yeah.
finest sports town in America.
Oh no, I've made enemies with people that read Carl Hiaasen novels. Oh no.
Fred Durst is going to get you, Limp Bizkit. They're from
It's
Jacksonville.
like living
Look out.
inside a dog's mouth down there. It's so hot and uncomfortable.
It's a lovely place, Nick. Wink, wink.
I'm from
Yeah.
Detroit, and Jacksonville is really bad.
Your only hope
Horrible.
is that OCP builds a new Detroit and that Ed 209 works.
There you go.
All right, next pick. Deion Jordan, Oregon Duck, proud Oregon Duck, goes to Miami, who trades up to get this pick, the best defensive end on the board. Made sense. The only thing, it was a 4-3 defense that's now being played, or that has been being played. God, my English is off when I drink more than one coffee. For Miami, a bit of surprise that they move up to grab him, but nothing shocking.
When they moved up to 3, everyone thought it was going to be for a tackle. And I think even
Right.
one of those talking heads there, number
Johnson,
3,
yeah.
it's going to be Lane Johnson. Then the pick was Deion Jordan. That was kind
to
of a
protect
surprise.
Tannehill, yeah. But Deion Jordan should fit in pretty well there.
I thought they were going to go Tavon Austin and maybe just kind of blow the offense out because if you put him in the slot with Mike Wallace on the outside and Brian Hartline as the number 2 / best mustache
Speed.
wide receiver,
That would be fun to watch.
with Dustin Keller at tight end, that's a spread offense I can get behind.
That's really nice. That actually is
Are we
pretty
still talking
scary.
about football spread? Get behind.
Oh,
Jerry, come on, Jack.
keep it,
Sorry.
keep it clean.
Sorry.
All right, next, Chip Kelly makes his first NFL draft pick. Lane Johnson solidifying, of course, that line. Experience playing. This was an interesting thought that somebody had. I think it was Chris Brown from Smart Football. That he has experience playing in an up-tempo attack, like Chip Kelly playing. He did it at Oklahoma. He's going to be comfortable in that new system.
I saw only positive reactions about
Yes,
that.
that is a solid pick. Next, we had Jerry's reaction to Ziggy Ansah. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Kiki Mingo goes to Cleveland. Barkevius Mingo.
Kiki.
Yeah, they do call him Kiki because
His middle name is Bingo, by the way.
he was Bingo Mingo.
That's the Captain Obvious chiming in over here. But how did Goodell not step up to the stage and go with the 6th pick? Mingo, I got Mingo. How do you not do that? It's just right there.
I think he
let
should
it
have
fly by.
should have taken like 15 seconds to say it. Barkevius Mingo.
He would have gotten slightly fewer boos next year. It would have been very good for him.
If he's a man of the people.
That's true. Jonathan Cooper goes 7 to Arizona, plays
I'll give it a
guard.
shot.
Another North Carolina. Makes sense.
Yeah,
Arizona's building from the inside out.
That's true. I thought Chance Warmack was going to be the first guard taken, though.
I would have
With
gone
all
in
that
that
back
direction.
fat that he has, Chance Warmack.
He's fat everywhere.
Are they going to make him wear a long jersey in the NFL?
I certainly hope so. He was wearing an extra small at Alabama.
back
He has
fat.
fat
Back
hair.
fat. Yeah.
I don't know how to describe Chance Warmack any better. He actually does.
It's so difficult to do, but he does it.
Yeah.
He's got so much back fat. It's unbelievable.
Yep.
crazy.
That is. I don't know how
He's
else to
got
look
like
at it.
mall fat. He's just got so much fat.
Tavon Austin's the exact opposite of that. He goes to St. Louis at 8. He's going to get to play indoors 8 weeks a year
I-
with a hopefully healthy Sam Bradford.
I was so excited to see him in the NFL, and then I have to watch him play the Seahawks twice a year, once of which happens in a dome.
I
Now I want him to break his leg.
Wow, that went dark real quick.
I am not above wishing injuries on players.
That's true. I still don't like
I don't mean it, but it kind of mean
If it happens, I hope he heals quickly.
Yeah. I hope he has a
still
lucrative career somewhere else.
I still don't like, having perennial top 10 picking teams like the Rams taking offensive skill talent when, you just saw Trent Richardson last year to the Browns. You see this year in and year out. And they're going to be pretty good, but they're ultimately not going to be a long-term answer because guess what? Tavon Austin's going to get hurt. That's what is going to happen. Even though you're wishing it to happen, it'll happen anyway.
Yeah, your defense is going to layeth the smacketh downeth on him. Like, people were always complaining that Danny Amendola got hurt so much, but then again, when you can gear your entire defense towards the only discernible skill position player they have whose name does not rhyme with Reven Jackson, then there's a really good chance. Who's gone, baby, gone. Then absolutely, that's exactly what you do. So Tavon Austin, going to be great on the carpet, going to get myrtleized up in the great Pacific Northwest. I would have liked to have seen him gone somewhere else, but that's that.
Yeah, the Jets take D. Milliner, hoping for more coverage sacks like they got with of course, Darrelle Revis, who is now gone. D. Milliner, thoughts?
Well, cool thing about the Jets last year, they lost Revis, but they were still like, number 2 against the pass or something around there.
They were decent enough.
Yeah, they were a pretty good pass defense. So you bring in D. Milliner, you still got Cromartie. I like the pick.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, if there wasn't an elite quarterback to be taken, and they decided that there was not an elite quarterback to be taken, I like that.
My Milliner hat making joke didn't go over well, and I was kind of bummed about that.
It's tough. Yeah. It's a tough. If we were in Virginia at one of those old recreation camps, then it would have been fine.
Maybe focus on cobbling next year.
Yeah, cobbling is a big hit with the Twitter folks. Yeah. All right, Chance Warmack, we talked about to Tennessee.
Back fat.
All of the fat. I still don't like Jake Locker. I hope he has protection and gets better, but I don't like him all that much.
No, he's not
You cannot be an NFL quarterback and hope that on any given Sunday you hit the 50% completion mark. Sorry, it doesn't work that way.
He did it in college barely against Pac-10 defenses. Like that, I don't like Jake Locker all that much. Next up, of course, another Alabama offensive lineman, DJ Fluker, goes to San Diego. He has hands bigger than this table. And I'm only slightly exaggerating. They reprinted his hands in like ESPN the magazine with like one of those 11x14, and it's just he has large hands. Like his hands are like the fat on Chance Warmack's back.
You know what they say about large hands?
What is that?
Large gloves.
Yeah, no, it's a necessity. Yeah. All right, beyond. So San Diego gets. I like that pick for San Diego. Phil Rivers is gonna still like triple pump and throw it into the ground, but he'll have more time to do so.
Right. Yeah.
So that's important. I don't know what I'm talking about. Oakland takes DJ Hayden, the corner from Houston.
2 DJs back to back.
The Broken-Hearted Club.
The Broken-Hearted Club, yes.
So that could be a first. 2 DJs back to back.
We got a DJ, and then an EJ. That has to be a first.
Right.
In the first round.
I definitely want to go to that
pretty
club.
Cool
I will pay the $20 at the door to go see a DJ, and an EJ.
2 DJs and an EJ.
Thoughts on Oakland taking an elite corner?
I mean, it's Oakland. It's like, what are they going to do with it?
That's true. Not turn him into a Pro Bowl corner.
Maybe they'll finish 3rd in the AFC West this year.
Oh, that's true. No, that is true. The Jets take Sheldon Richardson, getting better on defense. I really, really like this pick. A lot of people had him in the top 5 at certain points in the mock draft season. An athletic, a fast, a strong, a very versatile D tackle. Something that I think the Jets could probably use right about now.
They need a quarterback too.
They need a quarterback.
But there's no quarterback who's going to come in and probably solve their problems. A, in the first year, and B, at that point, maybe Rex Ryan's gone, or if he's able to coach up the defense, which is his greatest skill and asset beyond, ordering everybody to have a goddamn snack and losing weight and touching feet.
Yep.
So he's a
good defensive coach.
He's a very good defensive coach, and the best thing you can hope for out of the Jets, probably in all reality, in 2013, is 7-9, 8-8, highly competitive. It's sort of like, okay, we know we're offensively challenged, but we decided to get a really good bullpen and sign 2 veteran starters because we're going to try and win a lot of games 4-3, 3-2.
Right.
Field
position.
For as comically inept as the Jets were at times last year, they were actually had a realistic chance at the playoffs until week 15 or so, week 14.
They hung around and hung around and hung around. So they can win with field position, playing sloppy, winning ugly. Yeah, they can do that.
Too many holes to fill on offense anyway.
A ton.
This would have been a slight band-aid.
They do need some safeties because they lost both of them in free agency, though. So
yes,
day 2 is important for the Jets.
Carolina goes with Star Lotulelei. Really fun to say.
I still haven't done it. I just call him Star.
Lotulelei?
Lotulelei, yes. It used to be Lotulelei to me.
I've heard Lotulelei.
Lotulelei is what I've heard more recently. But he was somebody that had alleged heart issues early on, but then was checked out once again at
cleared.
Utah's Pro Day. Carolina needs all the help they can get, essentially everywhere other than quarterback and their first receiver.
Yeah.
Running back.
Or running back. Well, they have two
That they paid way too much for.
average running backs.
Yep.
And we cut to the other side of the cameras where the SB Nation audience goes, and they've all ruined my fantasy teams.
D'Angelo Williams.
Yeah, but I do like the Star Lotulelei thing. I mean, he played for a pretty average Utah team, but was completely dominant, was the focus of every single defensive front, or offensive line, excuse me, but he was their defensive front. So a great pick. A lot of people thought he was a top 5 talent. So a veritable steal when he goes to Carolina. New Orleans picks up Kenny Vaccaro, probably the best safety in the draft. A lot of people had them number 1 on their grade.
Fit right into the
sheets.
Jersey Shore.
Fits right, even though he doesn't at all. Yeah.
Even though he doesn't know, it's funny. You go Jersey Shore, and I'm thinking, I hear the name Kenny Vaccaro, and I'm thinking, like, that's a great name for, like, a prognosticator or something. Like, all right, now here on the SB Nation Network, we cut to Kenny Vaccaro with his Sunday wager picks.
That is what it sounds like.
But he's a good safety, and he hits hard.
He hits hard.
Which they need.
I'm a little worried about playing at Texas and how bad that defense was. And in their biggest games, they gave up a ton through the air. To West Virginia, to Baylor, they gave up a ton through the air. To Oklahoma, they gave up. They're still giving up stuff to Oklahoma. So he's one of those guys that played well against average teams. So I don't know.
The Saints are happy, though. They were thinking about trading up for him, and they got him at the spot they're at.
Yeah, absolutely. Buffalo goes E.J. Manuel. We've talked about that. It's exactly right.
It's really, in a word, you sum up.
Jarvis Jones goes to Pittsburgh, which should scare the tar out of the AFC. He is ridiculous. He is disruptive.
He's a bad person.
He's in every backfield.
Yeah.
He sets up camp there. He was originally at USC, couldn't actually get medically cleared at USC, goes to Georgia and just eats the SEC East alive. A lot of people had him as a top 5 guy.
Why do guys like that sometimes, there's always, every draft, there's always one super obvious, clear as day, top 5, usually SEC groomed pick.
Right.
That is just staring everyone in the face, and then they fall to the mid-round.
He ran a slow 40.
Big
And that's
deal.
yeah, exactly.
Honestly,
it's like he crushed like the toughest college competition. He's probably got a pretty good chance of being good at the NFL.
Until last season, until that Jadeveon Clowney play where he beheaded Vincent Smith of Michigan, there was a legitimate question: Jarvis Jones or Jadeveon Clowney? Who is the better defensive player in the country? He is on that level.
Yeah, it makes no sense. He could be the best player in this draft when it's all said and done.
Absolutely. No, he's an incredible athlete.
And we all can, as 4 men who love football and love talking football with sweaty dudes in a room drinking beer after midnight, we can all agree that the first pick of the 2014 draft is Jadeveon
Clowney.
Right?
Oh,
Okay,
absolutely.
we're already on pick number 2 next year, right?
Yes, we are.
He could sit out next year, and I'd still take him number 1.
San Francisco's Eric Reed, a bit of a surprise. They trade up to get him. Safety is a position of need. They lose Deshaun Goldson to Tampa.
Your brother, a huge Niners fan, was...
He was deflated.
He was so deflated.
He wanted Floyd, didn't he?
Yeah,
he wanted Floyd, but I think he's slowly talking himself into Eric Reed. Harbaugh really wanted Eric Reed when he was at Stanford, recruited him heavily. Reed, of course, if you remember that Alabama game, that awful Alabama game from a couple years ago, that 9-6 game, he sealed that with a ridiculous interception. So as far as I can tell, the Eric Reed pick goes as he goes as a center fielder in that system, because Whitner is not a center field type safety.
And you know what? I feel like the Niners, as good as their secondary is,
Right.
they do need that.
Yes.
that guy to play center field.
And he is incredibly athletic, and that's where the Niners struggled last season. When you saw Justin Smith get hurt and try to play with the weird shoulder situation against the Falcons, they got torched back there. So that was a position of absolute need. An interesting pick. The Giants go Justin Pugh. Justin Pugh. They had a big need at right tackle. That was the need for the Giants. An uninspired kind of a reach pick, it seems. But he could be good.
The thing is, like, they've had David Deal has been playing tackle for the last 4 years just because he's married to Tom Coughlin's daughter.
Is he?
That's Snee.
Oh, Snee, Chris Snee. That's what I was thinking of. Sorry.
Deal goes between left tackle and right tackle. Snee is guard. As he went to BC, married that.
Yeah.
Is Deal the one that has a show or a segment on SNY? I feel like he does.
I think so. He's actually very media savvy.
He's got a very outsized personality, really funny guy.
All right. So the Giants are getting better on
But
the offensive line.
They need some help on the offensive line.
Really taking care of David Wilson, the running back of the future.
Yep.
So it does make sense.
Friend of SB Nation.
Yep.
I think a lot of people, when they drafted JPP a few years back had the same reaction, like, oh,
Right.
Jason PR, whatever his name is.
That may have been more because he was
Couple
raw,
of
but
years.
still, it felt like, wow, they really wanted their guy.
And they didn't
they're
even
good at
need
drafting.
they didn't need a defensive end when they took
No.
JPP, but
with Tuck and Umanura.
Some teams you gotta trust, and the Giants kind of fall in that category.
But you
Absolutely.
did point out earlier, Matt, though, that the Pew guy does suffer from somewhere between alligator and T-Rex arms.
oh yeah, he's got the short arms.
He does look like he would be
short
good in a really good shallow end of the pool slap fight.
Yep. Chicago goes with Kyle Long, who I really think is good, but a reach here. He started 4 games as a junior college transfer after going to Florida State to play baseball, but he played it at Oregon last season. He plays angry. He's very athletic. Started out as a tackle, ended up as a guard because of injury issues. But Chicago, in recent seasons, in recent drafts, they've invested in the offensive line. They take Gabe Karimi a couple seasons ago.
Hasn't really panned out.
Has not really panned out.
Thought
But
he was going to be much better than he's been. I
Yeah, I
thought he
did
was
too.
I thought that was just the perfect kind of pick for them. Going to be a tough guy, always
that
have
line,
covers.
yeah.
Maybe that speaks to just how much of a d-bag that Cutler is. Maybe Karimi could play so much better, but he's like, have you ever tried protecting for this POS? Forget
Go
he's-
ahead.
Have you seen Smoking Jay Cutler? That's what he's like.
He just
That is
yells
him.
at us all the time. I just want him to tell me a good job.
So Kyle Long plays angry. Maybe it'll be a good story with Jay Cutler. Who knows? Next pick up, Tyler Eifert to Cincinnati, who have a tight end. Tyler Eifert, the best tight end in this draft. The league more and more is going to the tight end area where you have the mismatches.
Yeah.
You see what the Patriots have done. You've seen what the 49ers have done with these mismatched guys. So playing in the two tight end system.
Did they get Gresham in the first or second round the other year?
First round a few years ago.
I don't.
But look, I mean, you look at teams are going in that direction with Hernandez and Gronk. Last year, the Colts go with
Fleener and what's his name?
Kobe Fleener and Dwayne Allen,
Yep.
who Allen turned out to be the better one, and he was picked
Right.
second. So you do see that mismatch stuff. You see what Stanford's done on the college level. It is a definite direction teams have gone
Yeah,
in.
and you know their first round pick, all the best offensive line talents already taken.
Right. And AJ Green, you're talking about a top 3 wide receiver now,
Yeah.
so the weapons
some
are
pressure
building
off
up.
of 'em.
Right, and now they're building up weaponry in the passing game.
Okay.
Sure.
I can
All right.
you can look at Cincinnati's offense though and think, okay, when Mohamed Sanu comes back because
Yep.
he was actually ascending
legitimate, very good,
before he
yeah.
got
Really
hurt at the
good.
end of the season.
Yeah,
so you
really
got
good.
Sanu and AJ Green.
Mm-hmm.
But now you've got Gresham and Eifert. But the problem is, I hate to say it, even though he's one of my boys and I'm always going to root for him, Ben Jarvis Green Ellis has maybe half a season left of being a serviceable lead dog. I would have gone Eddie Lacy there because
Really?
he runs like a man, and that's exactly what you need because
They can
Andy
get-
Dalton doesn't have a big arm.
There are plenty that they're going to be situated in the second round. They can get a second round running back if they don't get Lacey.
It's a nice draft pick for deep running backs. Joe Randall from Oklahoma State, a big back that I really like. Kenyon Barner from Oregon, guy who runs hard. There is Jonathan Franklin, might be the best running back in this
Yeah.
draft from
Monte
UCLA.
And even like
Monty Ball.
even
yeah.
the exhausted Big Ten guys like Le'Veon Bell and Monty Ball.
Le'Veon Bell. Have you watched Michigan State's
Oh,
Le'Veon Bell?
No,
He's
he
a
runs
man.
like he's a
Yes.
hoss. He needs a license plate. He runs like a truck.
Yeah, so there
Mark
is.
D'Antonio tried to kill him.
Yes, 58 carries a game. That's okay, right, guys? That works. We can do that. He had a terrible quarterback. Andrew Maxwell was really
true.
bad.
Yeah.
That's true.
Desmond Trufant from the Washington Huskies ends up with Atlanta, who loses Brent Grimes.
I think that's-
should step in immediately.
I think, and maybe this is me being spoiled because I went to Washington to interview him, but just that whole family just has their heads on straight. He's totally prepared for the NFL.
Okay.
His older brothers being in the NFL have he's basically grown up watching two brothers play professional football.
Right.
I think and head on straight, not going to be irresponsible. Although Atlanta does provide those opportunities.
But as Nick mentioned, the influence in the secondary in Atlanta.
Asante Samuel.
Yeah.
Misante doesn't make anybody the better man. I'm sorry. He doesn't. He is all about himself. And I know he played the role last year that they needed him to in Mike Nolan's secondary in his defense. And he played it pretty well considering that everyone was expecting him to trip and fall on his own face after getting traded for, like a bag of rusty nickels from Philadelphia. But
Right.
I don't see how much more is left in the tank. So maybe Asante takes on the mentoring role and grooms Trufant. I think Atlanta kind of undervalued Grimes, and if you could have gotten him for a year at $5 million, he walks to Miami. They should have held on to him because you've got a Super Bowl caliber team.
Worth noting, that bag of rusty nickels actually got some snaps when Nick Foles went down late in the
Oh, that is true.
Fair point.
Sharif Floyd, another guy who everybody had a lot, even near the end, when people are talking to GMs, getting a sense for what they're interested. They thought top 5, top 7.
Can I call him Sheriff?
You may.
Sheriff.
I'm making an exemption
Thank
for
you.
you because I called him on that weird show that I do. So Sharif Floyd falls to Minnesota at 25. Thoughts on Sharif Floyd?
Well, doesn't John Gruden call Peyton Manning the sheriff, though? We probably can't call Sharif Floyd. That's the
TM.
sheriff. So,
Yeah,
we might
TM.
have to give him a different name. I'm surprised he fell this far. And I think if he's going to Minnesota, he's going to play with, was that Kevin Williams?
Williams, right.
Talking about being like
Fat
top
Pat is
5.
gone. Yeah, so we're going to have to see him twice a year as a Lions fan. I'm not looking forward to it.
He's a great value. Versatile. Florida even lined him up outside of tackles. I mean, he can play really anywhere on the line on a 4-3. So
I can see him flattening Dominic Rayola already.
poor Jerry.
It's a great pick for Minnesota, though, because
Yes.
he can assume what Ray Edwards used to do before he left and turned into the ghost of Ray Edwards in Atlanta. And with Kevin Williams probably reaching, the quote-unquote twilight, there you go, Dan Duquette, of his career, then at this point now he'll be able to be sort of like a defensive line hybrid for Minnesota.
Right.
And I imagine they'll probably get mildly creative on defense because they had a pretty good defensive draft. It was later when they reached offensively.
Right. Great place to play defense, by the way, Minnesota. With that noise, with that volume, it's a great situation. It's like Seattle. It's like the schools in college
Right.
that give you the extra something. So that's a nice pick. And Minnesota, of course, was the story of the first round for all sorts of reasons. Dayton Jones goes to Green Bay. Oh, excuse me, I skipped Bjorn Werner. I keep looking. Yeah, Bjorn Werner, who was maybe the truest 4-3 defensive end in this draft. Just the size, the ability to get up the quarterback, the athleticism. And Indianapolis takes him to play in the 3-4. A little weird. I mean, we see the sort of evaluation. We saw Deion Jordan, a 3-4, typical end outside linebacker, go to a 4-3. I have every certainty in the world that Bjorn Werner will find a way. He's talented enough. He's athletic enough. He gets another guy that gets to play inside, in a dome that is not inside. It's a strange pick, but I like it. It seems like it was a best available situation for Indianapolis at that point.
I can't say because I didn't watch a single Florida State game all year.
He's really good.
He's good.
That defensive line was really good, and Indianapolis, after going after so much offense, last season, it seems like that's the direction.
Yeah, they spent like 5 of their picks on offense. Yeah.
Yeah.
A good player is a good player, though.
Yes.
4-3, 3-4.
They'll find a way.
Ryan Kerrigan with Washington. A few years back, everyone said, he can't play to the 3-4. He's a 4-3 in. Well,
Right.
he's doing okay in the
He is
3-4.
true.
So,
Absolutely.
they just drafted a good player.
Yep.
I mean, a lot of people may think that he was the reach, like you just said, Dan, and that maybe we need somebody really badly to fill the Dwight Freeney role. Who's the best available to play the part of Dwight Freeney in the 2013 Indianapolis Colts? They go with the Swedish chef or whatever his name, the Bjorn
German, yes.
But
But the big difference with Dwight Freeney is he played in that 4-3 forever. And
Right.
and Werner's going to come in immediately and learn 3-4. He's not going to have to transition halfway through his career, 3/4 into his career.
I'm going to give Pagano enough credit to maybe be able to realize when he's got skill that can transition between certain defenses and maybe figure out
Right.
how to best utilize his skill as opposed to
Right.
wedging the square peg into the round hole.
Absolutely.
Just thinking.
That makes sense. Absolutely. Xavier Rhodes goes to Minnesota, who have a couple of picks early on because of the Percy Harvin trade. Xavier Rhodes, a 6'2 corner, athletic, had all sorts of experience returning kicks for Florida State. Has the ideal size. Is a bit of a gambler, but a lot of people had him as the best corner in this draft, as the questions mounted with D. Milliner's shoulder. So another good value there is Minnesota's concentrating on improving that defense.
I don't like it. They're getting better and better.
Right.
Just another guy to throw in there. If you're looking at the NFC North, you've got Calvin Johnson, you've got Jordy Nelson.
You
so
need a strong secondary.
You need a lot of guys in the secondary.
Yeah.
So they're smart, as well as that pass rush you're going to get with Floyd.
Absolutely. And you have those athletic wide receivers and those big wide receivers. So you have the 6'2", 215 corner who's going to be able to man up. Well, he's going to try to man up Megatron and stuff like that. He will do his best. Both of those games will be in domes. So...
And that was their reasoning last year when they went and drafted Harrison Smith. They wanted a big safety
Notre Dame,
because you got a ton of guys that have size and speed, and we forget about Brandon Marshall too.
And absolutely. And Minnesota's a playoff team getting better on defense. So it seems like sound judgment, at least up until this point.
Just as long as we close our eyes and pretend their quarterback isn't Christian Ponder.
Right.
Yes,
totally good.
absolutely.
Who's actually I heard, rumor has it, now this is unsubstantiated.
Sure.
He's actually going to throw passes next year the way that Rick Barry used to shoot foul shots.
Underhands.
Nice.
If he beats out Matt Castle.
Oh, God, that was really mean of you, Matt.
What is wrong with this
Wow.
world? If you can't beat out Matt Castle, you lose. I know he married a SportsCenter anchor, but gosh, come on.
Yeah. Oh. Okay, Dayton Jones goes to Green Bay. A pick I really liked, a value. I thought he might have fallen to the second round, and I would have really loved any team to get him there because it's just a ridiculous player. Can play that true three technique. Is that what it's called? The three technique?
I guess.
It's
If you say
something
so.
If I say so. He can play defensive end in a 3-4. He's built. He's 280, 285. He's got great size. Can play inside in a 4-3 if they show those looks. So Green Bay gets better. They've drafted along the defensive line in recent years, and they've had a lot of injuries there. You see Jarrell Worthy, Nick Perry, B.J. Raji can only take so much of a beating. So Green Bay, we've seen the offensive fireworks. It's probably good that they stack up that D-line.
Yeah.
And I just would like to raise my beer to all of us for resisting a discount double check joke on the Green Bay Packers.
Thank you. That
Good job, guys.
We are great human beings. That's not true at all. Houston, again, tries to find another number 2 wide receiver. Last year, they tried a couple out. Didn't really work as well. DeVere Posey, sort of a smaller guy. They go Nuke Hopkins, DeAndre Hopkins from Clemson. Solidly built, about 6'2", 215. Really good route runner, Outshines Sammy Watkins, who had a great year a couple years ago at Clemson. And they get better through the air, which, I mean...
That was their most glaring need.
Yes.
Like, Matt Schaub is maybe not... the quote-unquote elite quarterback that we love to talk about.
Right.
But they haven't had a good receiver, a true number 2 receiver opposite Andre Johnson, who, by the way, is 10 years in the NFL. He is not getting any younger.
Andre Johnson is questionable for tomorrow.
Yes.
By the way. That's how he lives his life.
He might not get out of bed.
He's day-to-day, just always. Oh, poor Andre Johnson.
The difference this year, though, years before they tried to find someone that can complement Andre.
Right.
I think this draft pick is someone that's going to replace him in a couple
successor.
years.
Exactly.
That actually sounds reasonable to me. Okay. Sylvester Williams, the guy I mentioned to Denver from North Carolina earlier. Denver, that defense was ridiculous last year. They get deeper with this pick.
Real blue-collar guy.
Blue collar, gritty.
And that he actually had a blue-collar job.
That is the way to think about it.
You know what I heard? He puts his pants on one leg at a time.
There you go.
Real lunch pail.
He's
sort
a
of guy.
lunch pail guy.
kind of guy.
He doesn't use a paper sack. He actually has a lunch pail.
An old-fashioned lunch pail.
It's more considerate to the environment.
It's harder to find a lunch pail more than ever now.
It is.
You got to go to like vintage stores.
I'll say eBay,
You can get like the
something like that.
Transformers lunch pail.
Good for him. But yeah, Elvis Dumervil, of course, departs Denver with the weird fax machine situation, goes to Baltimore. So they did, even though it's a different position, they did need the depth along the D-line. And then Minnesota.
Here we go.
They get a pick that wasn't theirs
Minnesota.
for like the rest of their picks.
From the Patriots. Only cost him 4 picks to get Cordero Patterson.
Yeah.
And we were talking earlier in the drafty room here about the fact that it seemed like the Rams kind of overpaid for Tavon Austin in that earlier when Miami jumped up, it only cost them a first and a second.
Right.
Of course, that first was a 12, moving up to 3, and then their second so that they could jump up and pick their guy. And then Tavon Austin, the Rams had to pay a little much, it seemed like that
The
for
thing
him.
is, the Rams are still so rich in picks from the RG3 trade.
They've got
That's
monopoly
true.
money.
Money
Yeah.
to burn.
They absolutely have monopoly money. But for Minnesota to say, okay, a second, a third, we want a wide receiver that badly to pair opposite Greg Jennings for underhand McPonder. So we're going to go second, third, fourth, and seventh. And you just like cut to Belichick just sitting there in like his specter, stroking the white cat. Yes, yes, yes. It's unbelievable.
Crazy.
I just don't understand why they did that.
Can we also talk about how Cordero Patterson was the best dressed at the draft?
He was really nice.
Do we have?
Dapper.
Yeah, look at we got the picture.
Oh, look at that.
The
Look at
white
that.
the white tuxedo jacket with the black lapels, the Louis Vuitton belt.
He
I
looks
can't
like
pull that
someone
off.
named Cordero.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The best hair name combo by far.
Yeah, a Corderell can't dress like me.
No.
That's
He
what
should
we're
wear
saying.
corduroys, though, shouldn't he?
Quarter, yeah. Would you like to like? I know it's a mild aside, but like I've always kind of wanted to own one of those jackets, like a Love Boat jacket, like one
It
of
is
those the
great.
white
You
tux
have
with
to
the
have
Ricky
the
Ricardo.
occasions
Yeah.
to have to wear it to.
You'd get. I
You
could
become
see
the
you'd pull it
occasion
off.
when you wear
You
that.
could. You'd
Yeah.
give it a
Matt could
shot.
do it.
I'd like to. I would want to give it a go.
For me, the next frontier for me is seersucker suit. It's hard to do in New York
It's
City
tough.
because like it's really a Southern gentleman sort of thing.
Right. There's like a day in November. You're like, today's the day.
No, not November. It's a summertime suit. man.
What am I thinking of? What is the thick, horrible suit?
A gabardine.
Yeah,
No,
man,
Gabardines a lighter cotton as well.
I don't know why.
I know too much about
Astronaut?
fabrics.
Gabardine?
This fashion moment has been brought to you by Matt Ufford.
Yeah, that is okay. Cordell Patterson only played a year at Tennessee. Is another potential guy. May not have even been the best receiver at Tennessee. Justin Hunter, to a lot of people, had more polish, but he himself was dealing with an ACL injury. So Cordell Patterson had a really good season last year. Tyler Bray, a mostly pretty good quarterback, but had a lot to worry about on a really just average Tennessee team.
Yeah.
So Patterson's really good, but they gave up way too much.
Way too much.
If you're talking about the depth of the second, third, and fourth round, which is where every draft Nick and Kuiper, McShay,
Where you build a team long term.
right. So where'd you guys get Russell Wilson last year? Third round, right?
Third.
Yeah, exactly. The second, third, and fourth round is where you build these teams, and just to think that they're going to give up all of that extra, like offensive line, defensive line, reserve safety, special team potential to get a wide receiver with 1 year of experience on an SEC team that basically every week was like, well, we're not LSU or Alabama, so let's just throw it deep and see what happens.
Yeah, that's trouble. If you're drafting a running back or a wide receiver in the first round, you have to be positive that they are a perennial Pro Bowler.
Yeah.
Right.
And I don't see that.
Yeah, no. It's,
I don't know.
It's not good.
He's good. He's going to be a good, but he has Christian Ponder.
Also, wide receivers more than I don't actually have stats to back this up, but I feel like no one's going to disagree with me here.
Right.
A lot of wide receivers, even the good ones, take 2 to 3 years to mature into solid NFL
They are
players.
not immediate impact guys. That's tough for me. Travis Frederick, who we've mentioned, goes to Dallas, but that's after Alec Ogletree, St. Louis. Maybe the most talented middle linebacker is the first middle linebacker off the board. You don't see a lot of teams all that often taking first-round middle linebackers unless they're like Patrick Willis special.
Right.
But he goes off the board. A lot of people had Manti Te'o in the first dozen picks before, well, really the end of his 2012. Yeah. But yeah, Alec Ogletree, tremendously talented, tremendously athletic, can play 3 downs, sideline to sideline, can play in the nickel. Played for an underwhelming Georgia defense, but incredible.
Yeah, fast, great range,
Yes.
covering receivers.
And mean.
Does he move to the outside now? Because they have Laurinaitis, right? St.
Right.
Louis.
You could see them interchanging.
Yeah,
I don't know.
they both can kind of play
speed.
inside
He's
and
got the speed to
outside.
do it.
Yep.
I feel like there was a devaluing for some reason of the middle linebackers because you said that Patrick Willis, like he is now the prototypical 3-down middle linebacker.
Right.
And then you saw a lot of teams like the Patriots get exposed having slower middle linebackers, like the guy with the terrible tweet about the spider. Who's the guy? He's crazy. Played in Florida.
Brandon Spikes?
Brandon
Spikes,
Spikes.
yeah. The
Those
eye
guys,
gouger,
they are
yeah.
great first. There's a lot of great first and second down middle linebackers in the NFL, but to be able to get that guy who can go sideline to sideline and cover those little out routes and the slants over the middle so that the tight ends like your Eiferts and whatnot just don't burn them all the time.
Right.
That's tough to find.
Yes, absolutely.
Ogletree might be that kind of guy.
Ogletree is quite good.
Which, by the way, kind of ridiculous that the Ravens won the Super Bowl in spite of Ray Lewis.
Yeah.
That's
Still
not bad.
Still kind of blows my mind.
Ridiculous.
He was horrible.
We talked about.
He was so bad.
He was so bad.
So bad.
We spoke of Travis Frederick. If you can get a good center in the first round, that sets you up for years to come.
Especially late first round. You're not going to spend an early first round.
Right. I like the value here. You look at what the teams in the NFC East are doing. Washington's front, when healthy, can be quite scary. Philadelphia switching to the 3-4. I don't think they're going to be great this season. That coordinator, I'm not completely thrilled with. Who am I missing in the NFC East? The Giants. The Giants
Cowboys.
D-line has been ridiculous, aging. Well, he is now himself a Cowboy. But yeah, it's a nice pick if he sets up, especially with the troubles that they've had in the running game. Right. Tony Romo's still going to give away half of their games, but give yourself an opportunity on the ground to win, and investing in Travis Frederick does that.
First round centers have kind of panned out recently. You got Pouncey, you got Nick Mangold
From the Jets,
Alex Mack.
Yep,
So
Browns,
typically when they go first round, they've been pretty
When did the Seahawks
good.
pick Max Unger?
Second round.
Second round.
He was a very early second round pick, but he was all pro
Same
this past
deal,
season.
yeah.
And then finally, to round out the first round, your Super Bowl champion, select Matt Elam,
The Ravens always do that. Their first round pick is always late in the first round. They always get someone who's gonna be awesome.
Yep, that completely fits not just the scheme they're running, but he fits. He's definitely a Raven.
Yeah,
Did you see the clip of him
born a Raven.
after it was a Florida corner in special teams? Luchez Purifoy made a ridiculous tackle. Matt Elam comes in and just demolishes his own player celebrating.
He was trying to like hug him, like shoulder bump, but just flatten him.
That's a Raven.
He's like
Exactly.
he's like that 8-month puppy that is like doesn't realize it's already 85 pounds.
Doesn't know his own strength.
And can flatten human beings.
Ridiculous.
Just really
That's
excited.
so Raven. But now, here's the thing that drives me crazy about the Ravens. Like, how easy was it for all of us as guys who, A, were envious of the fact that the Ravens won the Super Bowl and our teams didn't, and then we all reveled in the schadenfreude of watching Kruger left, Ellerby left, Ray Lewis retired.
Ed Reed, yeah.
Ed Reed walked away. Like, that team, like the Matt Burke left, like the team just basically seemed to fall. Like, they traded Anquan Bolden for, a bag of 6th-round pick for a guy who should have been Super Bowl MVP.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, they get Chris Canty on the cheap and watch he'll be good. And they get a very angry Elvis Dumerville.
Yeah.
And now they get Matt Elam for nothing at the end of the first round, a guy that has mid-first round talent. They're going to do it again. They're going to do every time.
I feel like
they're going to do it.
This is the sort of thing that like 5 years ago, this is the way I felt about the Steelers. Like, they're still really good.
Yeah.
And there's like their mojo just suddenly a couple of years ago, like
Started bleeding
in
out.
Milledgeville, it just like went right out of Roethlisberger in that toilet and went up to the Ravens.
For the record, I don't get jealous of Super Bowl winning teams as a Lions fan.
I just accepts that.
I get jealous of playoff teams. Like, man, those Bengals made the playoffs again.
They get to play
Super
in
Bowl
middle
is a little bit out of my
January.
league, yeah.
Well, it's fun when you host them.
Dared
Yeah.
to dream.
God.
Don't bring that up.
Yeah, Baltimore. The next 48 hours are going to be like that. Ozzie Newsome, he just does it every year. He does. They scout differently. I don't know. That's my generic. That's a terrible generic NFL announcer. But yes, it was a fantastic pick. Everything sets up to be an exciting second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh round, as much as it can be in a very administrative process. Any predictions? Anything you guys are looking forward to for the next few rounds?
I predict that by Saturday afternoon, Andy Reid will be in full-on muumuu. He started out with a Hawaiian shirt tonight.
Right.
He's going to need more comfort by the end of the weekend.
Wouldn't you wear a Hawaiian shirt though if you were Andy Reid? You're like, all right, let's
He's
get
the
comfy.
fat party guy.
What
Yeah.
else would fit?
Where else do I have to go?
Yeah.
What else?
Kimono.
What do I have to? That would be pretty sweet.
Sorry? I don't know.
If he went full kimono,
Right.
Or just bed sheet. Why not
He
go
would-
toga?
No,
Yeah.
he couldn't do kimono. He'd sweat right through the silk.
That's true. That's tough.
I like the fact that there's a lot of talent still on the board.
A ton.
There's this is a very for those of us that are just looking for something to do on Friday night, want to watch some sports, good basketball on, maybe some baseball as well, and we're gonna have like the favorite button on the remote control back and forth of the draft. Like, we're not just watching like, okay, I wonder who all the backups on my team are going to be. That's why I'll watch the second and third round. Like, there's legitimate
Impact guys.
impact NFL talent on the board in the second and third round.
Yeah.
That's high degree of watchability.
We've had what, 2 wide receivers picked?
Yep.
And no running backs so far. So like it's one of those
Skills
things-
positions.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like
Tomorrow.
we were talking about
Matt
earlier.
Barkley? Yeah.
Yeah.
All these quarterbacks, a bunch of running backs, some really good wide receivers. And we are saying earlier, like, a lot of times NFL games are won in the trenches with the
Right.
unsexy. Like, size does matter. You can't teach size and
Correct.
strength like that. And the first round was all about the unsexy of size and strength. Now, in rounds 2 and 3, we get into the skill. These are the guys on your fantasy team. These are the guys you're going to hope that actually can beat someone out and be the number 3 receiver that you'll be rooting for to make clutch catches and big plays next year.
Somebody's going to win a fantasy league based on somebody drafted tomorrow night. A second, somebody's going to get. I mean, Doug Martin was a first-round pick last year, but there's that player, whether it's Jonathan Franklin, whether it's Matt Barkley, who steps in and has a ridiculous season out of nowhere. Somebody like that is going to be that guy tomorrow.
And we've got Geno Smith and his fall from grace, and we still have Honey Badger on the board.
Honey Badger's on the board.
Honey Badger.
I'm excited.
I'm actually heading to his after party right after.
Nice.
Yeah, no, it's
I think he's going to turn out to be a good NFL player.
I hope so
It's,
because he was really fun to
You
watch
see
when he played.
Rolling Stones, Matt Taibbi,
No.
he has like rules for the draft, and one of them is like draft the weed guy. That like they get like if they've killed a hooker, if they've sexually assaulted someone, that's a real character issue.
Right.
If they're smoking weed, they're just like every other college student.
One of the guys.
Yeah.
Check out.
Draft the weed guy.
Where does he
Manti.
go? Where does he go?
I think Minnesota's going to trade more picks for him.
They have more picks left.
Probably not. No,
I don't think they do.
they're trading 2019 and
They can mortgage the
2024
future.
future
Yeah.
considerations.
How tough is Manti? I mean, if you ever thought you got made fun of in school, how tough is his life going to be in an NFL locker room?
He's too dumb to understand what you're saying about him.
I'm happy that he's a middle linebacker and not a punter. not a
I've
punter
heard-
brought in.
I've heard they're people too.
What? No. Ish. People-ish. All right.
Many of them are foreigners, though.
debatable.
So,
All right, we have gone on for exactly the right amount of time.
Yeah.
This was very fun. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Jerry. Thank you, of course, to Nick. My name is Dan. All right, thank you very much for watching. Do pay attention to SB Nation as much as you possibly can because we have all of the smart, funny, interesting, awesome people.
follow at SB Nation on Twitter for updates from the NFL Draft throughout the weekend.
Yes, that is what Matt said. Thank you very much for watching. We will see you shortly.
Charles.